Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Pinky. Yes, and we are here with another Born to Stand Out. That's right, my friends. So, not many left. Actually, there's quite a few left. But we have a lot of these small ones, which are not ideal. And then this one, which I don't even think is one. Why are you here? But that's okay. We'll continue with the larger one. And there we go. So this one is Smoking Gun. Interesting. Tablet. I imagine this one will have like a smokiness to it, smoking gun, some kind of metallic scent to it. Kind of interesting. But let's see. Smoking Gun by Korean niche fragrance house Born to Stand Out is a fantastic wearable smoke scent with a hint of bitter Campari and swirling incense with a handsome blend of woods and tobacco. Okay, interesting. Love around the campfire, heavily pleated, spiced scotch in the wet woods. So, the notes are Campari, rum, whiskey, bitter orange, juniper, pine, incense, leather, cinnamon, oak, Virginia cedar wood, Balkan tobacco, vanilla, and sandalwood. Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot. So this is probably more of a winter scent with these notes. So, which is perfect because we're still in winter here at least. So, rum and whiskey, interesting. Juniper, pine, incense, leather. There's a lot going on here. A lot. And that's okay. I find this one intriguing. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And we have this again. So, this is the third time that this has happened. So, just know if you're buying these sets, not the best quality. Unfortunately, no, and you can't fix them once they're like this. They just keep causing problems. So unfortunately, they get stuck in the cap. Not the best. Just know that. So we're going to have to dab it on. Okay, so it's taking a little bit to fill the space because, you know, it's not sprayed into the air with the molecules. But definitely getting, I think I'm saying it right, Campari. And I looked that up. And basically, it's a bitter kind of orange scent. Or grapefruit, so it's citrus with a little bit of like smokiness to it, which I'm definitely getting. Definitely getting that citrus of some sort, but not like a fresh citrus. It's more of like the rind, which tends to be a little bit more bitter, of course. Nobody's really eating that stuff, though you can use it in cooking. Usually it's just a dab. So definitely getting that smokiness of a citrus of some sort, leaning more towards grapefruit or orange, not lemon or lime, which tend to be, for me, a little bit fresher. Interesting. Definitely getting that incense like immediately as well. There's that incense coming through along with whiskey. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. So you would think with some of these notes that it would be a little bit drier, but it's not. It is a heavier scent, but it's still really, I don't know, it's heavy, but there's still a lightness to it. That's really interesting. So again, that smokiness of orange, grapefruit, incense, cinnamon. You are getting that kick of cinnamon and whiskey. I'm getting the whiskey as well. So I think that cinnamon and the citrus are really kind of bringing it up. Though the main component that you're going to get is that smokiness going on all around you. Probably more so if I'd sprayed it, but it's definitely a smoky scent. And that tobacco is coming through too. This one's kind of cool. I kind of like this one. That's interesting. A lot of notes, but perfect for this time of year. Actually, this is something that I would definitely kind of wear. I like it. What I like about it is that smokiness, but the incense just brightens it and makes it happier with the notes of the citrus, with the cinnamon, and a little bit of like leatheriness to it, but it's just the notes just work together where it just doesn't make it drop like a weight, which could easily happen with a lot of these notes, but it's really, really nice actually. But let's try it on the shirt. Ooh, on the shirt there's definitely like incense is the main thing, just going boom through it, but you get the rum and the whiskey more. So it's more incense with booze and rum specifically, and whiskey being a little bit stronger, and the brightness of the citrus, but not quite as smoky. There's a smokiness there, but I think it's really coming through on my chemistry more. Really interesting. Smokier here. Smokiness with the citrus, whiskey, rum, and a little bit of cinnamon, just a boop, give it a pop. So they're all kind of staying in the same vein a little bit. This one's very interesting. This one is very, like I said, it's definitely like a heartier scent, which is perfect in cold weather. This definitely fits that, and construction. So it definitely fits that. So it's really kind of cool. I really like this one so far, but I can see how this can morph because there are a lot of notes to this. So what I'm going to do is check back in an hour because it's staying pretty consistent. And hopefully they're done because nobody wants to be hearing that all day. So there you go. So I will check back in an hour. Hello everyone. Sorry, so they're still doing construction. It isn't stopping before 4 p.m. most likely, and there's horns. Yeah, big city living. So there you go. So I can definitely smell this one. This one is really robust. It is strong, which is great, especially for this time of year. It totally fits the profile of what you want. The big thing that I keep getting is incense. Like, this is almost a pure incense scent to me. It's just incense. Even the smokiness, it's still there, but especially on my chemistry. So I'm finding that incense just loves my chemistry. And it turns very sweet on me. But I think part of that has to do with the rum that's also involved. So I'm definitely getting that rum on my chemistry, but it really is incense forward. This is just almost pure incense at this point on my chemistry, which isn't bad. There's definitely still the smokiness, but the fruit for me has burnt off, so that's probably the top notes, and that's pretty much what I'm kind of getting, is that incense with a little bit of spiciness, which I think is from the rum. And, you know, possibly a little bit of vanilla or something sweet, but that could just be the incense. But let's try it on the shirt. Wow, very different on the shirt. So it's a chemistry thing, completely chemistry. So it's very smoky still. It's still that smoky, citrusy notes. It's just like orange and grapefruit with smoke, which is really, really nice. A little bit of that incense and whiskey and rum. I'm not really getting the berries. It's saying junipers in there. I love juniper, but I'm really not getting that. Also still getting the incense with it, but that's really interesting. I'm not getting a lot of those notes that were supposed to come through, or pine. I'm not getting that. The cinnamon has subsided a bit, but there definitely is, and vanilla and sandalwood is listed, but I'm not getting that because I think they're so gentle, they're being overtaken by the rest of it. Yeah, but let's try it again. Yep, there's also this slight smokiness, which is coming from the tobacco as well. Very interesting. So the complexity is pretty amazing on the shirt. On the chemistry, not as much. It's just a smoky incense with a little bit of tobacco and rum, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just not the complexity that I want. So that's a completely binky thing, not smoking gun thing. But let's try it here. Interesting. On here I get that smokiness of the grapefruit and orange that they're advertising, and that bitterness. Incense, but I am actually getting the juniper and pine here. Yeah. Not here. Getting the juniper and pine here though. where the liquor is there, whiskey is coming through, but rum is taking more of a back seat in comparison to the shirt, where the rum is coming through a bit more. Very interesting. Even so, just moving around, I'm getting more of that smokiness. What's happening is this, my chemistry with the shirt is mixing together and creating this beautiful scent. It's like I said, it's this very heavy scent, but that being said, it still has a lightness to it because of the brightness of some of the other notes coming through that are just really lovely. They're just, it really is a beautiful brightness with the citrus, even through the smokiness of it. That's really beautiful. And the incense, incense to me is heavier, but there's also a lightness to it for me because of the sweetness of it. Even rum, it again kind of can be seen as heavier, but that sweetness brings it up a little bit. But this one's really beautiful, actually. I really like this one. I didn't think I would, to be honest with you, but ooh, this would be so good this time of year. It is so good this time of year if you're in winter. Ooh, this is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check back in 4 hours, and we will see where this one is gone, because it's a powerhouse and it is absolutely beautiful. I'm kind of surprised. I like it because normally this isn't a scent that I would go for as much, but I am really enjoying this one. Okay, so we made it for 5 hours and this one's still going. It's not going as strong as it once was. I'd say it's definitely still there, but before it was a little bit more of a powerhouse. Now it's a little bit more oop. But you can still definitely smell it. I think part of it too is that I wasn't able to use the sprayer, which is disappointing. But it is what it is. In the grand scope of things in life, oops, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, so there you go. I know, going through some drawers, and so I have some stuff here. Cleaning days. There you go. So definitely can smell it when I'm moving around. What I'm noticing mostly is that it's still incense. At least on me, because that's what my chemistry is pulling up. But let's try it on the wrist. Yeah, on me it's mostly incense. It's just incense with a little bitter note underneath. Yeah, like a sweet, probably where the juniper's coming in. I love juniper. I can kind of get a sense of it, but it never was like juniper. It just added to the sweetness. So I'm getting that incense with a sweet, I wouldn't know it was juniper, but almost like a berry-esque sweetness to it. So that's what I'm getting on my chemistry at this time. But let's try it on the shirt. Wow. Okay, on the shirt, it's a lot drier in that it's, there's incense, but it's really overtaken by smoke. So I'm getting a big smoke vibe from it with a little bit of like leather and just a hint, not a lot. The leather never really came through for me. So it's more of smoke, a little bit of leather and incense. I mean, incense is the big player for me at least. So the incense, leather, smokiness. Interesting. See. Yeah, this is kind of the same. Incense and smoke and a little bit of like a hint of berry of some sort. Not like a berry, but like a sweetness. I get more of the berry on my chemistry, but it's just smoke and incense. So I don't necessarily get smoking gun as much as I get a church. And they just lit incense and it made it smoky. That's it. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. I actually kind of like this scent. And I'm not somebody who loves big incense scents, but there's something very nice about this. Would I buy a bottle? I don't know. I don't really know, but let's talk about it. So if we were going to put something into categories, because some people really enjoy that, but we always wear what we want when we want. This one is very, I mean, I can see how people would see this as being more masculine because of the smoky notes and the incense, and I don't know why that's considered masculine, but the notes of whiskey, which I'm not getting too much of anymore, but whiskey and rum and then smoke and incense, I think, tends to lend itself a little bit more so as masculine, I guess, if you want to say that. I would wear this again. You know, I really do like this. And like I said, I'm not really big into incense smells just because I love them. I love them in theory because they take me to a wonderful place. Depending on it, some of them smell like ancestral, like incense in Asia when I traveled there, or like a Gothic church in Europe. So I love the scent of incense. I just don't know if I like wearing it on me per se. So, but this one kind of changes that. I like the smokiness of it. I like the, I don't know. I like the sweetness of it. So part of me is like, could I get a travel amount? Just wear it every once in a while. I could see myself doing that, to be honest with you. So I would, I mean, I do like it. I do like it, but I don't know. But I think for a woman, it would be a bold move. And I love women who wear bold move perfumes that you wouldn't expect. And that's why I like this one. It's cool. And so part of me really, really likes it. But part of me is like, I don't need a huge bottle because I wouldn't wear it enough. So that's just something to think about. But, you know, I do think that people would see this as a little bit more masculine. But you wear what you want, because I would wear the heck out of this. So there you go. As far as the season, if you're in my hemisphere, it's the season. Late fall to winter, this scent is perfect because it has a lot of body to it. It's very strong. And because of that, I think it'll do really well in cold weather. You know, it might be a little bit too strong once you get into the summer and late spring, where things are a little bit lighter. This might be a little bit heavier. This is definitely like snowy day, 5 degrees, and you're bundled up. This is going to make you feel cozy. This one is really, really nice. So this one's intriguing to me, actually. If I were going to give this one a score, I think what bumps it up is because this is probably one of the best incense scents that I've smelled. Because a lot of the time incense tends to go a little, with certain brands that the incense ends up turning into a strange note on me. This one stays what it was. Sometimes it'll get almost like I don't know, like a bitter note at the end, or just gets kind of crunchy smelling. I don't know how to describe it. It's not as fresh. It gets almost like musty. This stays bright and happy incense. And I think that's why I like this one. So if I were going to give it a score, because it is probably one of my more favorite incense scents, I'd give this an 8 out of 10. I really would. I really like the way that the incense stays. It doesn't normally take that nosedive that happens a lot. With a lot of incense scents. I keep saying that over and over. So that's why I'm giving this one such a high score. But I can see how some people would say it doesn't have a lot of complexity, just because depending how your body pulls. This one's going to be a big one on chemistry. And if you know what your body pulls out, that's going to make a huge difference. But, you know, there's a lot of incense smoke, and whiskey. Little bit of like some kind of brightness. The orange and the bitter orange and grapefruit leave pretty quickly, but even still it never gets too heavy. And so I really appreciate that, because this one could have been very dangerous, but it wasn't. So yeah, that is my review on Smoking Gun from Born to Stand Out. And with that, have a fabulous day, my friends, unless you're here for the K-drama suggestion, which is coming up next. Okay, so this one's a little bit lighter than a lot of the other ones that I've chosen. Yeah. A lot of the other ones were very heavy, big dramas, a lot of suffering. This one is still, there's a lot to be learned from it. But that being said, it's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more uplifting, though there's sad moments. It's not a heavy drama. So I think a lot of people would probably be like, thank you. Finally. This one is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Yes. So if you know this, you're like, wow, I didn't see this one coming from your pick, because the rest of them have been so like, oh. Well, you're wrong. It's there. Now, do I think it is the most thought-provoking drama. I don't, but I really enjoyed it. And I think part of it was the cast of characters, and it was kind of a feel-good drama. So basically, Attorney Wu has autism, and the thing is, she is exceptionally great at memorizing things, and she falls in love with law. So the thing is, she almost has like a photographic memory where she can just remember everything, all these small little laws and things that other people forget about, just because she remembers everything really easily. So she gets into a good college, she excels in the classes. What holds her back is, of course, with autism, other people may not understand the difficulty of somebody having autism, even if they're highly functioning. The problem is that the social aspect is very difficult for people with autism or Asperger's, which have now been put together. They used to be separated, but now they're joined together as far as a diagnosis. And so depending on where you are on the spectrum, even if you're higher functioning, it's still socializing can be difficult, because people with autism don't always pick up social cues. So sometimes they don't understand those social cues, those social intricacies, I can speak, which most people who are functioning on a non-autistic level will get. And even those who aren't autistic sometimes don't. So there you go. There you go. But so it's basically the challenges of being absolutely brilliant as a lawyer, but not having the social skills that you need to be a successful lawyer, especially in court. You know, you have to be convincing, you have to be likable, charismatic a lot of the time to get your points across. Other people in the company don't care for her because they see her strange and try to sabotage her. But what makes her rise above is the fact that she can memorize everything, she can come up with back ways of getting cases closed. But it becomes difficult because she also is very moral, and sometimes companies, especially bigger ones, may ask you to go about cases almost in an immoral manner, which does not work for her. And so you see how she navigates dealing with things socially, having to go to court as somebody who doesn't do well in social situations, and using her smarts though to figure out how to navigate this. She also finds herself in a romantic situation, which can be very difficult for both parties, especially if one isn't autistic, and learning how to navigate that together. And it's just kind of, there's some really cute moments, because she's very much into kind of like the other one, Move to Heaven. She's really big into whales and things and the ocean. So basically she will use whales and sea life to resolve issues as she goes through the day. And it's kind of a fun drama. The actors are really great, charismatic, and it's just a lighter thing, though there are moments of, while she navigates this stuff, it never gets to a really depressing place like a lot of the suggestions I've given. So yeah, that is my suggestion for today. A little bit more lighthearted. See? Every once in a while. There you go. And with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.